Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering a criminally underrated film called Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank.
Yes, this movie is so much fun. It's a parody of Mel Brook's film Blazing Saddles, set in a fictional version of feudal Japan.
Yes.
Now, in a town of cats, a dog is forced to become the samurai protector of said town. Only they don't want him there.
No, and they make it vocally
The sheriff
clear.
is a dog.
And before we
start,
be sure to like, subscribe, include notification notifications on future podcasts, and we'll pause videos.
Absolutely. Now, we want to preface this with, if you've seen Blazing Saddles and you begin watching this movie, you'll begin seeing all of the references. You'll know what character is a match to the live action version. Mm-hmm. You'll recognize some of the dialogue, and it is so much fun. It's not a one-for-one.
Right.
So it's not like, okay, I've seen Blazing Saddles, now I'm going to see Blazing Saddles animated with furries. That's not how it is.
Right.
But you definitely will get the references.
Right.
The biggest and most wonderful part of this is Mel Brooks actually appears as a voice actor in this movie,
yes,
reprising the same role he had in Blazing Saddles.
He plays the Shogun.
Yes. And I was so happy to hear him because we haven't heard Mel Brooks in a lot of things recently.
Yeah.
It's so great to know he's still around, he's still hilarious, he's still a master of comedy. So
yes. Last time we heard him, I think, was in Hotel Transylvania, and that was a few years ago.
Right. We didn't know with this movie be good or not. For me, when I watched the trailer, I said this might actually be pretty good, and we went ahead and took the chance, and boy, am I glad we did. Laughed throughout the entire film.
Yes. And before it came out, the original title was called Blazing Samurai, but they had to change it, even though he was part of the project. They said they couldn't title like that, and because it might either get confused or considered copyright. So they changed it to Paws of Fury. And we learned it was actually based off an old script that Mel Brooks had to do another parody film that didn't get made in live action decades ago.
And the writers of this film were the writers on the original film, including Richard Pryor, which was just not only amazing to see this list of names of the five men that wrote the script, but that Mel Brooks still gave them credit. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not mistaken, he's the only one that's still alive from the list of writers. And I thought it was beautiful that he still gave them credit posthumously.
Yeah.
And respected that they were definitely a big part of this. It couldn't have been without that script, and it wouldn't have been the wonderful movie that it is. And it is wonderful. I know you've probably heard a lot of garbage, seen a lot of garbage. You see the trailer and think it doesn't look like much.
Yeah.
But if you love movies like Kung Fu Panda, and
Mel Brooks' old library,
and you love other movies that are like Kung Fu Panda, where you have a mission but humor and characters that are unique and fun and important to the story, and there's actual plot, and there's character development all within a certain short period of time of 86 minutes, which they are what did you always tell me, they break the fourth wall.
It's everything's wrapped up. We've reached 85 minutes.
Then this is a movie for you.
Yes. And
some of the other actors, let's tell them some of the other voice actors. Michael Cera.
Yes.
I was really happy to hear Michael Cera. I love Michael Cera, so that was a treat.
Yeah, Samuel Jackson as the sensei.
Yes, that was perfect.
Right, had Ricky Gervais as the villain, George Takei as the henchman.
And that was really brilliant because you expected George Takei to be one of the wise men, and he's not. That's all we'll say. And he does it brilliantly. The same with Ricky Gervais. You expected him not to be a villain, but he is, and he does it brilliantly. Samuel Jackson is brilliant in his role. Michael Cera, even though I've heard some say that he wasn't, I think he was perfect. He had the right amount of, yes, I'm going to say pluckiness and fun, and the innocence, like Deku, that came through in the role. And of course, Mel Brooks was Mel Brooks.
Yes.
It couldn't be any better, and there would be no one better for that role.
Right.
And then you also had one who played the girl Kitty.
I know Michelle Yeoh was the mother. Unfortunately, I don't
Brilliantly
recall.
done as well.
Unfortunately, I don't recall who was the little white cat.
Yeah.
That's the only one I don't recall. Everyone else I pretty much got.
And there's a few more stars you'll recognize when you listen. And that's another thing that they didn't fail to tell you. Well, they did fail, to tell you in the trailer that it's a cast of superstars. It's a cast of stars. I'm like, these people are in it and they don't mention it?
No.
How can all these people be in it and it's never mentioned, or the names aren't put across the venue as the trailer plays, or nothing? I don't understand that.
It wasn't until when it got closer people found out, because majority of the ads that Nickelodeon put out were just either Michael Cera or Samuel Jackson, and most of the time they were Samuel Jackson. They seemed to be relying on him to be the key star to bring people to the movie, but it didn't work because most people thought it was like, it's just him. Is he the only big name you got in here? And it really didn't seem interesting to me because they were pushing him so hard that they didn't show anyone else.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that was not conveyed to us, but we want to let you know the voice cast is amazing. The animation is really good.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And it's done in 3D. And they actually make sure they make good use out of the different styles they use when they're doing backstories or the opening or the closing. And they do like a sort of mixed media thing. It's not like constant throughout the film where you get annoyed and you can't focus, but it's enough to where they stylize to fit whatever the tone is. Because when we mention it, it's a fictional version of feudal Japan. There's a lot of things from the modern era that they have in there, like limos and bands and rave parties and birthday parties in the streets of the city. And it's like, well, what time period are you in? And they kind of mix it all together.
Like Gotham.
Yes.
On Fox.
Right. And this was also, an homage to Mel Brooks' style of movies. No matter what period it was in or setting, they will always bring in something modern. And they shouldn't have it or know what it is, but they do. Like, you had Robin Hood, and they were talking about different television things and going through their own script of the movie. And there's always that key moment in his movies where they always break the fourth wall, but there's always that one moment where they actually go and they acknowledge they're in a movie, they look at the script, they talk to the audience, they try to get into the theater, run out, or the economy of running so much that they actually leap off the screen into the movie theater. Those key moments are actually in here. And it's actually proof that the people behind it that made this project did love Blazing Saddles and knew Mel Brooks' films and had him involved in it. Because we hear that so much that, oh, I read the books, I love the original, and then you watch it and then they know nothing about it, or they get everything wrong, or they make fun of people who like it and say it was bad. But none of that happened in here.
I love this movie so much that I actually am going to buy it. It was just that much fun. Another thing I wanted to point out, if you're a lover of animation, Western animation like we are, I know at some point you've had to watch the series Hong Kong Phooey from the 70s, either on DVD or on Boomerang, or maybe at the time it aired. But we've seen Hong Kong Phooey because we got it on DVD, rented it, and watched the whole series.
Right.
That being said, Michael Cera's character reminds me of Hong Kong Phooey.
Yes.
He just has on a different color instead of a red
robe. Yeah, red
on
robe.
a yellow one. And I think that, as we mentioned, the yellow and black is also a shout out to Bruce Lee.
Yes, it was yellow and black,
Yellow
and it was
black.
like,
I said yellow and red. Thank you.
oh, okay, yeah,
Black.
because you think about it, because he can't do anything in the beginning, so it's kind of like he's got the skill thing on, and then he can't do anything for part of the movie. And another thing in here I think is funny is that they actually have lines that they said in the Blazing Saddles movie, like you pointed out earlier.
Oh, there's so many, but again, the entire movie is not a one-for-one. You're
Right.
just not going through lines after
Right,
lines.
because then
but,
you could just go watch Blazing
Right.
Saddles.
But there are great key lines that come up that as soon as you hear, you go, oh my gosh, that's that line. Oh my gosh, that's line.
Yes.
But yes, one of the favorites is the sheriff is a dope. They
Yes.
only do it twice. It's not a running gag the entire movie.
Right.
But they do it twice.
Yes.
So that you get the reference of Cleavon Little as the sheriff in Blazing Saddles.
Yes, because they'll have. Yes, you're right. Because they said, okay, if they really watch this movie, they have to do that line. And I said, okay, they need to say the samurai, the dog. And then the cat said, oh, there he is. It said, hey, the samurai, the dog. I said the samurai, the dog.
really got to see this movie if you haven't. Ignore the critics that are giving it a bad name, I guess you could say. Give it bad reviews. Ignore the trailer because it doesn't tell you enough about the movie for you to really want to see it.
Right.
I just looked at it, and sometimes I have, not sometimes, most of the time it's an uncanny way of looking at something like it's a trailer or something, and I'll say, I think this is going to be good. And so far, 100 out of 100 times, when I think it's going to be something good like that, it's just like my gut telling me, watch it, and we did, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So definitely watch it. This is a movie, again, that I want to own. It is that funny and that brilliantly done. There's so much in here that you will miss if you don't see it, and there's probably some of you going, well, I've seen Kung Fu Panda, so this is not Kung Fu Panda. It is a reminder of the style and the type of comedy of the movie, but again, it's not a Kung Fu Panda copy. It's not a one-for-one for Blazing Saddles. It's not Hong Kong Phooey's twin. This is something different. It brings those things to mind, but it's not a ripoff because it's done from a script by the people who did the original movie. Yes. It's more of an homage, brilliantly done in Western animation. Right. As a parody.
Right. And one more thing I definitely want to mention is that, as you said, all the dialogue is pretty brilliantly written. It's written just like you would watch a live-action Mel Brooks film. And one of the running jokes in here is that they replace swear words with names. Oh my gosh, yes. And only one time did they swear, and it was like the only time that we kind of didn't care for it. But near the end, you know, Samuel Jackson's a swear. We can't swear in a kids movie, so to replace him using all those words we can't say.
Well, you know his most famous line that he says in every movie. We're not going to say it here, so we don't get demonetized or anything else. But it was brilliantly parodied, and it was
what the mother, father, cocker spaniel's going on here?
And you were laughing and had rewinded to hear it again. It was brilliant, and they did that a couple of times in the movie. So, as Rascal said, there was no swearing. If you are a fan of Mel Brooks, I don't care what age you are. I don't care if you're Mel Brooks' age. You've got to see this movie. It's another star in that brilliant comedy crown that is his. You've got to see this movie. And if you are not familiar with Mel Brooks movies, they are always brilliantly done. They're satirical. They're witty. They always point to something about society, but it's not banging you over or hitting you over the head with it. It always has a cast of characters that are versatile. Yes. That has a variety of different peoples that are in the movie. And you'll see a few that occur, I should say a few people that make appearances in more than one movie. Kind of like Adam Sandler, he had his little core of favorite actors that he would go back to. And unfortunately, as we did mention, for this movie, that core of actors, unfortunately, they've all passed. Yeah. So they couldn't appear in here, but he did a really good job getting people who were able to convey the same way those actors did in live action. Right, exactly. So, see this movie, definitely if you're a Mel Brooks fan. We saw it for free on demand. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. I don't know if it's available anywhere. I sure hope it's available to buy.
Yeah, I think it's out for DVD. And it should have it on Paramount Plus. It's actually Nickelodeon and Paramount. Right. And it should be on DVD by now.
Hopefully at some point Nickelodeon actually plays the movie too.
Right.
That would be great.
Right.
So, if you haven't seen it, you need to give it a watch. Come back and let us know what you think in the comments. If you have seen it, share with us your experience. Do you love it as much as we do? Do you want to own it like I do? Have you seen Blazing Saddles? And we know you've seen Kung Fu Panda. Have you seen Hong Kong Phooey? Inquiring minds want to know. Answer all these questions and more in the comments. We look forward to reading them.
Right. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly videos and favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate you. And thank you for listening to our podcast and commenting. We love reading them. If you want us to check out your channel, leave us the name in the comments below. Better yet, leave a link. We'll check it out. Give you a follow or subscribe, because this is Twitter. Subscribe to you and look forward to seeing the content you have on your channel as well.
Right. So, thank you so much for watching. Masco Entertainment
and Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.